We start the news from Kumasi, where the Minister for Monitoring and Evaluation, Dr. Anthony Akutuose, is asking Ghanaians to compare the governing New Patriotic Party's barely 2 years in office to the NDC's 8 years and also appreciate how well government has managed the economy. He cites initiatives by government, which he says are changing lives, adding, the economic management team of the NPP government is working tirelessly to address high inflation rate to help boost economic confidence. Dr. Akutuose was speaking at the inauguration of an NPP youth group known as Strong Net of NPP in its Tafo Pankrono constituency. Well, Mohammed Nurdin is reporting from the constituency.
The group is expected to champion the cause of good sanitation and other social initiatives in the constituency. Chairperson Hannah Davis-Boateng says the Strong Net of NPP will also extend support to needy students. Dr. Akutuose says government is working hard to make life better for Ghanaians.
One thing that the Mahama government did in the first 2 years, if you compare it to NPP, there are lots of things you can list. So Ghanaians can compare. Ghanaians are discerning. We want to continue to work hard for Ghana. We are not going to boast about it. If you can get people to go to school, children who otherwise couldn't go, you do one district, one factory. Look, just recently, NAPCO is employing 90,000 people. 100,000. So was Mahama able to do that? Teachers' allowances are being paid. So we will continue to work hard so that our output will show.
Right, well, let's stay in the Ashanti region, where a Kumasi Circuit Court has remanded into police custody 2 members of the Delta Force accused of disrupting an NPP constituency meeting. Presiding Judge Lydia Osei ordered 51-year-old Paul Atta Unyina and 49-year-old Richard Yao Brefo to reappear in 2 weeks. They're said to be among a gang which stormed a meeting between Tafo Pankrono members of Parliament, Dr. Anthony Akutuose, and party executives last Sunday. Here's what Kwesi Deborah learned.
The accused face 3 charges of conspiracy to cause unlawful damage to plastic chairs worth 1,000 Ghana cedis, unlawful damage, and rioting. Prosecutor Philip Jagwe asks for 2 weeks from the court to complete investigation since other accomplices may be involved. Defense counsel William Kusi wanted to know why suspects have been brought to the court when investigation was incomplete. He argued the accused have no characteristic physique of Delta Force members. Mr. Kusi also suggested videos circulating can't implicate the accused because they were nowhere near the incident.
So they presented their facts to the court. They didn't take their plea, and in the wisdom of the court, they should be remanded for 2 weeks for the police to investigate. We made an application for bail. The court has refused. And you know, the law lies in the bosom of the judge. And so she has spoken. Ours is to see the way forward. So we are going to advise our clients on the next step.
The judge rejected application for bail and remanded in police custody until 24th October. Mr. Kusi later told JoyNews he will appeal the decision because the charges against his clients are misdemeanors for which they deserve bail.
Everybody who is charged before a court should be able to say whether or not he did it or he did not do it. In this circumstance, they were not allowed because the police said they were investigating. And so that is why you see me disappointed. And secondly, I thought that the offenses charged were misdemeanor. Even if the court is convicting them, he will not put them in prison. He will just find them. And so you haven't heard them. And you're asking them to go to remand prison. I mean, that is where my disappointment is. 2 weeks is long time enough for us to go to the High Court. So that's why I'm saying I'll talk to my clients.
Reporting for JoyNews, Kwesi Deborah.
Well, back here in Accra, a mother of 5, her mother who has 6 children, and her sister who is a nursing mother, will for the next 3 months spend time at the Insawan prison after they were found guilty of stealing a half-sack of maize. Well, the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice believes such sentences handed persons who commit petty crimes must be quickly addressed through the passage of a non-custodial sentence law. The Deputy Commissioner of Shraj, Richard Quayson, has been speaking at a forum on non-custodial sentence where the convict narrated a chilling story. In the following report.
I am Hannah Faye. I am from Adesso. I was incarcerated together with my mother and sister. We went to farm to get some maize. We were trying to locate the farm owner to ask for permission.
The testimony of an inmate of the Nsawam prison who was convicted for allegedly stealing half a sack of maize. She shares her cell with her mom and another sibling who had accompanied them to a neighbor's farm that fateful day.
We were sent to the police station, processed for court and sentenced. We were to serve our sentence at the Nsawam prison. We pleaded that we have children and that my sister was carrying a baby, but that didn't yield much. We are in prison with my sister's child. The child is with us at the prison house.
Her story reflects the state of Ghana's judicial system, overcrowding, inmates remanded without trial, and long jail terms handed people for crimes many consider minor dominate discussions on custodial sentences. The forum brought together the Chief Justice Sophia Kufu, representatives from the Interior Ministry, Police and Prison Service. CJ Sophia Kufu urged the convict to appeal the sentence.
So there can be an application to the supervising High Court judge to review the sentence, not the conviction, but the sentence. Or there can be appeal. Appeals take a longer time. These applications can be within 48 hours. So I think your paralegal person should even have been able to draw up one of those applications on her behalf. And it's better that we deal with these situations rather than as soon as we come across them, rather than just create opportunities for sensationalization. Not that I'm criticizing, but all I'm saying is that, so what did Post Foundation and your paralegals, what did you do? Because this is such a simple matter, and it could have been resolved. So please, I'm expecting you to act on it, and next week by this time things would have been sorted out.
Deputy Commissioner of Shraj, Richard Kwesen, called for a swift passage of the law regulating non-custodial sentence.
And though somebody may describe the offense as stealing and therefore the punishment is imprisonment, I still believe that that is not our sense of what is fair, what is just, and what is decent. And for this reason, I believe that all of us here should take this morning's exercise very seriously and do what is needful. 2 decades of discussions and consultations on non-custodial sentencing should end somewhere.
Similar stakeholder engagements are expected to be organized in other parts of the country.
Now, private legal practitioner Joyce Edu is calling on government to either repeal the country's death penalty or go ahead and execute prisoners currently on death sentence. According to her, the law has outlived its purpose and should be revoked as it has failed to deter people from serious crimes. She made this suggestion when she addressed a workshop organized by the Africa Institute for Crime Policy and Governance Research to mark the 16th World Day Against the Death Penalty. Here's a report on it by Philip Ankra.
October 10 has been set aside to mark World Day Against Death Penalty, which has been abolished in law or practice by almost 3/4 of the world, or 143 countries. Despite a global positive trend towards abolishing, however, death row prisoners continue to represent the most marginalized layers of society. They become the incarnation of inequalities and cease to exist even before their execution. This year's celebration is on the theme Living Conditions on Death Row.
We are advocating that the death penalty should be abolished. Yes, absolutely. Then there's a life sentence or there's other punishment. There are other punishments that can be meted out to them instead of putting them on death row. If they indeed want to maintain it, then let us see an action. Let them be executed. Okay, but you can't just keep them there for them to be traumatized. No, that is our advocacy. Meanwhile, we can use their skill to do something better for the nation. And we are rather spending on them and their lives are deteriorating. Once they are deteriorating, we are looking at medical expenses. We are looking at human resources. So I think that basically it is time for us to repeal and get them to be life imprisonment at least. Then we can probably use their skill to develop something else.
Take them from the death row.
Deputy General Staff Officer of a prison's headquarters, Thomas Mahama, said conditions in the cells housing prisoners on death row at the Nsawam prison is deplorable and not the best. According to him, due to the anxiety of the inmates not knowing when they will die, vents their frustration on the officers and other inmates.
That they were living in a prison within a prison. And what do I mean by that? They have their separate block that is well fenced. Just as you see a prison from outside a prison, that is how you see their block within the prison. They are supposed.
Some clients of gold dealership Men's Gold, they've rejected a recent offer by the company to pay all investors who want to opt out in some 90 days. The customers, numbering about 200 at a news conference in Accra, said they have strong suspicions that Men's Gold is on the verge of folding up and may not be around in 90 days' time to meet their obligations. They also criticized the Securities and Exchange Commission as well as the Bank of Ghana for not acting swiftly enough. Emmanuel Jivenu reports that customers have vowed to go all lengths to retrieve their investments.
Men's Gold, after suspending the payments of dividends, citing attacks on its workers, announced a new proposal to pay all investors seeking to terminate their investments in 90 days from Tuesday, October 9. The new plan, detailed in a press release, was however unclear when exactly payments of customers' dividends would resume. The customers, calling themselves aggrieved traders of Men's Gold, have however rejected the company's offer. Convener for the group, Kenneth Nimo, says Men's Gold has not done enough in the last few weeks to convince them that it intends to pay them.
We do not subscribe to the prolonged period of 90 days stated in Men's Gold's latest communication, as the company has not adhered to set timelines in the past period. We are even more concerned that this is nothing more but a time-buying strategy, as the company has in the past few days rebranded all its official vehicles, laid off staff, and is likely to vacate their offices in the coming weeks. Members of aggrieved traders of Men's Gold is therefore giving them 4 weeks per their stipulated time to pay 50% of the total value of gold traded to all customers and pay the rest of that remaining amount until the 90 days are due.
They also blamed the Bank of Ghana and the Securities and Exchange Commission for acting in bad faith in the issuance of their directives.
We cannot also conclude this statement without addressing the two regulatory bodies whose actions or inactions have landed investors in this mess. Yes. We state emphatically that the two bodies have not acted in good faith despite their claims of protecting the public and investors with money. We concur with the opinion of many statesmen that the two bodies have engaged Men's Gold in a rather unprofessional manner, serving directives that spark fear and panic, yet taking no steps to rectify any anomaly in Men's Gold operations or attempting to secure the millions of cedis that are lodged with Men's Gold. The two agencies cannot wish away their responsibilities to us as investors and the public by simply referencing the cautionary notices earlier served, since Men's Gold has operated under the watchful eyes of both SEC and BOG over the past 5 years.
They are also asking government to intervene as thousands of lives will be affected should Men's Gold renege on its promise to pay.
We will also use this opportunity to reach out to the government of the day and remind them of the gravitas and the catastrophic nature of this issue. Should it be allowed to explode beyond control? Yes. The thousands of lives it affects and their respective dependents are all at risk. Failing to address this is a matter of urgent public menace and a sure political suicide.
Scores of customers of Men's Gold could meanwhile be seen converged at the East Legon branch of the company, even though the office had been closed and barricaded. JoyNews gathers they were leaving their details at the security post in anticipation that they will be invited to come for their investments. Emmanuel Giverno's report for JoyNews.
Well, that'll be it for the news update. Now, Kojo, we have to look at the newspapers and the online portals.
Quite a bit coming up, so stay where you are.